Hey Chris! I apologize for my delay on making a video. I have a video coming up that I'm really excited about, and it's turning out to be a little bit more complicated than I was anticipating. And never fear, cool and exciting things are on the way. I'm really glad you decided to do NaNoWriMo this year. Welcome aboard and best of luck. I'm not going to talk about my nano project yet. The whole project is up in the air and I'm not ready to commit yet. You know, because it's not like it starts tomorrow. Also, I'm in the process of polishing up a story for submission, but that is also a future video. Today's video, however, is related to writing, just not my own. I too have a thick book that I'm trying to finish before Thursday, and it probably won't happen because I have roughly 6.5 hours to do it, and I have well over 300 pages to go, so. But if I don't finish it before then, I might not get back to it until December, and that's kind of depressing because I'm totally loving it, despite the fact that every review I've read of it prior to the purchase denounced it. For example, Michiko Kanaturi from the New York Times said it was so depressingly cliched that it was not only disappointing, it's dull. DeAndre Donahue of USA Today states that it reads less like a work of fiction and more like a plea for Britain's comfortable middle class to become more aware of obstacles faced by poor children growing up in dysfunctional homes. That book? The Casual Vacancy by J.K. Rowling. It's not a book that I would recommend to a lot of people, even though I absolutely adore it. I actually think most people would be horribly disappointed when reading it, as the reviews showed. Why? Number 1, it's not Harry Potter. Number 2, this book is not plot-driven. At all. I'm about 250 pages in, there are still characters that are being introduced, and what looks like a major conflict of the novel is really not that impressive. The plot thus far is shaping up to be this. Barry Fairweather, a citizen of the small town of Padgeford, dies of an aneurysm. I'm not giving anything away, this actually happens in the first 2 pages. And the rest of the novel is spent deciding if the empty spot on the town council, also known as the casual vacancy, will be filled by someone who just steps in, or if they'll hold an election, and then when and if an election happens, who will be elected. That's it. That will be your climax action. Reason number 3, it's not Harry Potter. Number 4, there are about 1 million characters. Okay, not exactly, but to count there's at least 20 people for whom you have deep interaction with in the third-person omnipresent style. And they all interact with each other often, and mention each other often, and have really big biases on each other. Often. Number 5, it's not Harry Potter. Number 6, it is gritty and raw and real. Things are not cleaned up, people are not simplified, and the nastiness that is some people is not justified and glossed over. There's swearing, there's drug use, and people have let their lives get away from them, and for every action there is a consequence. Number 7, lest we not forget, this is not Harry Potter. And that's the biggest thing I noticed in the reviews I read. People complaining that she had stepped out of genre, was now writing adult literature, and was going to be ruining the children of the world because they would want to read this book that was definitely not intended for them. They claimed that the book was centered around the Dursleys of the world. What this book really is a beautifully painted portrait of a town that could exist anywhere in the world. It has people that have good intentions, that can and do have consequences to the world around them that they just can't fathom. It streams from one character to another, allowing the reader to see what the character thinks of him or herself, and then moves on to a separate person who not only shows themselves as well, but gives you an opinion on the last person that you just talked about. So you get to see each character inside and out. You don't have to worry about a biased narrator. You have tons of them, and that gives you the option to draw your own conclusions. And I think that's what I love most about this book. It's masterful storytelling, but more than that, it's masterful character building. It brings together everything that was so well done in Harry Potter into a more realistic environment and forces you to look at something ugly and real in a way that Harry Potter never could, because it is a children's book. It shows Rowling's incredible understanding not only of writing, but of the human condition. I would really highly recommend this for you, Chris, and I really hope that at some point you get a chance to read it. Other than that, happy Halloween. I will be seeing you this weekend, and have a good night.